everybody, Taryn here, and I could not be more excited to bring you something special. Welcome to a 4-part series in collaboration with Title IX, all about their annual Pitchfest. Pitchfest isn't your typical Shark Tank setup. It's a women-led event that's about mentorship, community, and opening doors for founders who are building the products, businesses, and solutions we've been waiting for. Because the best things are built by the people who need them most themselves. Over the next 4 episodes, you'll hear from the wonderful women behind Title IX, the badass babes who've stepped onto the Pitchfest stage. We're talking scrappy beginnings, real talk about failure, and the future of women-led outdoor companies. I had the chance to record this first episode at the Title IX headquarters in Berkeley, do yoga with the crew afterward, and later this month, I'll be back there for Pitchfest in person on September 26th. We're kicking things off with this first episode right now. We are at the Title IX headquarters. I am so excited to be here. I've already gotten a little tour of the place, and I literally can't believe it. I'm like, this is an absolute dream place, it feels like, to work. Like, just everything that I would want anyways, because, I mean, there's a gym, so... See, amazing that I'm like, that's just like all I want. I mean, sure, I was a personal trainer, right? So my office was a gym, but it was just the gym. You know, now I do so many other different things. I just want to be able to like go out the door, and sure, I can do that outside at home, but not always. Like, it's snowing sometimes. So.
And not with your coworker.
Exactly. Yeah. It's everything
with a trainer brought in at lunch.
Yes. Yeah, it's
we really
amazing.
have no excuses not to work out.
And that's great, because sometimes that's what you need, is like that accountability of like, there's no getting around it. You have to do some kind of movement. But it's been incredible to see, and it honestly feels, like I said, a dream place for someone like me to work. And I'm sure you guys work here for a reason and love it, probably more because you actually work here. But, okay, so I'm here with, speaking of, Molly and Lisa of Title IX. So I'm going to let them do a little intro, tell you guys about what they do here at Title IX, and obviously a little bit of their background, how they got into movement, outdoors, athletics, all the things that brought them to Title IX. So Molly, let's start with you.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Molly Hanks. I've worked here for a long time. I love it here.
Long?
It's a real. What? Close though, right? No, I rolled off my parents' insurance, and I needed a part-time job for insurance, and I had always gotten the catalog and loved it. I called it the magazine because I'd read it every night, like, or not every night, but whenever it came in the mail. And no, I just was drawn to the company, and 20 hours a week was full benefits, and that's what I needed. I didn't think I was going to be a retail person, but I just love the company and loved working for like a mission-driven, female-founded company. I loved the way the kind of creative and the business came into it. Anyway, I've done a lot of different things here, but currently I'm a merchant. I founded Pitchfest originally, so really one of the kind of happiest parts of my job here at Title IX has been being involved with Pitchfest, all the amazing female founders. And I've done a lot of different things here at Title IX, but yeah, love a lot of friends in this building, a lot of like-minded women and men too. And it's just a super fun place to be. In terms of like getting into sports, and I was a lifelong athlete. So again, it's just sort of these like-minded people, a lot of athletes in the building, shared values. Spent my summers in a camp in northern Wisconsin doing a lot of canoeing and portaging and tripping camp. And that is definitely my dad was a geologist also, but that time at this Camp Manitowish, shout out, was a direct line to my outdoor industry. Geeking out on product and surviving in the woods and so it's that's probably why I'm here. And also was really happy to pick up my daughter. She went to camp there this summer, so it was really fun to be kind of like full circle. All my sister and cousins all went. My dad went.
So that's where you grew up, Wisconsin?
I grew up in the Bay Area, so we're like local Bay Area gals. A lot of sports. My dad was a geologist, kind of affiliated with Stanford and U.S. Geological Survey, so that's why we were there. But his family was originally from Wisconsin. Yeah, that's fine. And it's awesome.
You sent your daughter there. Yeah. Did you say it was her first year there?
It was actually her second year.
Oh, okay,
but
cool.
the whole family went up to pick her up. That was like a week ago. So I'm still kind of coming off of that fun.
That's awesome. What a full circle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And if I could add, Molly is, in my opinion, the biggest champion of women-owned businesses here. Like, if there is a woman-owned business out there anywhere in the world, she's going to find them. When she's out, she goes to Europe to try to find new brands. She's looking all over the States, and it'll be pretty much like weekly that I get a text from her on like a Sunday at 2 a.m. like, oh, I just found this.
Sometimes 2 a.m. I think she
Or
was
like
2 p.m., but
2 a.m. Like, she'll go to a farmer's market. The woman who's done the breakfast every year for Pitchfest, Molly found her at the San Francisco Ferry Building at the farmer's market on Sundays, back when she was a really small business. And
everything
now,
came in paper bags.
yeah, and now, I mean, not only has she taken on breakfast for Pitchfest every year, she literally owns it now. She's in charge of it. I don't even decide what we're having for breakfast. She just does it. She's also in Whole Foods, Berkeley Bowl, probably like more stores than that.
Across the nation.
And that's, I mean, like, that is just one of our vendors.
Yeah.
We're always like out there regularly finding these brands. And 2 p.m., 2 a.m., doesn't matter the time. She will let me know.
Well, so that is what's so cool to me to see and hear, because Title IX's a big brand. And especially, we talk to a lot of pretty small still companies in the grand scheme as well. And I feel like Title IX is way, way up there, right? And there's this feeling or fear a lot of like, if people or companies still live by their values when they get to a certain size, right? And you see people like, Title IX posts all this great stuff online and whatnot, but you still can't help but wonder at times when they're so big of like, do they really, really hold these values and ethos through and through behind the scenes and all that? And so that's what's been really cool for me as I've been talking with you over the last few months, Lisa, and like being here in person, is that like it is through and through so legit. Like, it is not just like talking this game because that's how they started, but really they've changed behind the scenes or something. Like, no, it is like, I feel it. I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
So it's like, like I said, just amazing to hear your guys' experience and like feel the true passion that you have for what you do here. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
Lisa, what about you?
I'll touch more on that too. I have heard all the ways that Title IX supports women.
Yeah.
But I'm Lisa Gilliland. I am the manager of community and culture here at Title IX. I've been here for a little over 6 years now. And when I started, I was an intern and Molly was my manager. And my only project at the time was Pitchfest. And at that time, we didn't have a community role. There wasn't, anybody in here really thinking about how Title IX was out engaging, because it was in every part of the business already, but not necessarily like intentionally so. So what I've loved is that I've had this opportunity to build this role and build this community at Title IX.
She's done an amazing job.
Thank you, with so much support. And I never ever kind of imagined this for my career, for myself. As a young girl, I grew up in sports. So while Molly was at camp doing all the outdoorsy things, I was admittedly like a little bit of a scaredy cat when it came to the outdoors. Like, I was afraid of the dark. I didn't love hiking because my legs were short. I was small. I have 3 older brothers, and so it was a lot of like kind of tough it out, just no wimpiness or whatever. But I loved sports. I played all of the sports with a ball: basketball, softball, soccer. I would have done football if that was a thing at the time. A little jealous, but also stoked that flag football is now officially a thing for girls.
It's amazing.
I would have been out there for sure. I love the competition. I love the teamwork aspect. I love having a community, and I found that here at Title IX as well. So my story of how I found Title IX, how I found Molly and this internship was, I actually used to be a teacher. I love teaching. I love being with young people, and I was teaching around the corner, and I would go out for runs regularly, and I kept running past this park, and y'all can't see, I'm pointing at a park. Across the street, I promise. You saw it.
Yes,
It came in right
I
there.
did.
And I would run past a couple of times a week and see this group of women working out. And I just assumed it was like,
Workouts.
yeah, I just assumed it was like a gym, right? Because that's normally when people are working out, they're part of a gym, but they were always at the park. And so finally one day, I stopped and I asked a woman.
This feels like a bridesmaids moment in the movie.
It is without food poisoning in the street. Thankfully, no food poisoning street scene, because that.
Pay for this.
Yeah. But I stopped and I asked this woman, it's Christina Casey from our merchandising team, I now know that, and I asked this woman, like, what is this gym? How do I join this class? I want to be a part of this team that I've been seeing here. And she was like, oh no, we work at Title IX, and pointed at this building. And I went on that night to the Title IX job site. They were hiring for interns. I was 25, so not necessarily the typical age for an internship, but I was like, I got to do whatever it takes to get inside of that building, to join that team, and to be a part of that community. And like, thank goodness I did. I mean, honestly, like, life-changing moment for sure. To your point, my husband often jokes that I work at a summer camp. Yeah. It is still a job, okay, folks?
Yeah,
it is still a job.
Perfect.
I still have spreadsheets, I still have budgets, I still have meetings.
A lot of spreadsheets.
A lot of spreadsheets, slide decks. But at the end of the day, I enjoy what I do, and I get to be in a job that has an impact on the world beyond me, beyond these four walls. And that's a lot of what we'll dig into today.
Yeah.
It's just how that mission and this community comes to life in really special ways.
And that's so important to, I think, a lot of us, a lot of our audience, is what matters, like doing something that impacts more than just you. And that can be really hard to find, I think, especially in our society too, where it's just like, you're told to go get a job because you need a job.
Right.
Like you need to pay for stuff, whatever. So go get the highest paying job you can or whatever. But so much of our society, they don't care about what the impact is on other people. And look, we've, I'm sure, all had jobs where they were just the thing, or the minimum wage job that you're going to do that doesn't have serve much of more of an impact besides that business making money. But there's a lot of us out there, again, like our core audience, myself, you guys, that you will really need value in what you do. And yeah, of course, we all want to make money that lets us lead the life that we want to. But I cannot trade my time for money, like without a internal value being there.
Yeah.
And it's been a conversation I've been having a lot lately with people, with myself, with my boyfriend, like really digging into values and what they are and how do you align all of your life with this, because it's so hard to, I think, find work that does align with your values, that pays the bills. It's not easy to do in this day and age, I'm sure anytime, but like especially right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely a privilege too, I
Yeah.
will say.
Yeah.
Like, not, obviously a lot of people need to just take the job, get the health insurance.
Exactly.
Definitely. During the pandemic, some things changed here, and for a while I wasn't doing the community role, and I was still having an impact on the business, but I did find that I felt like I was missing that external impact.
Yeah.
But it's truly a privilege to be able to be in one of these positions.
Well, and I think that's why for us now, it used to be the Title IX Olympics was the favorite day of the year,
yeah.
but now it's
still do.
Pitchfest. And here at Title IX, I think Pitchfest is maybe not everyone's favorite day, but most people's favorite day, because I think it drives home that, right, when we're in these spreadsheets off on 300 rows later, or columns later, whatever, that can feel kind of tiresome sometimes, but it's contributing to this greater good, and that we work for this company. And Missy's worked really hard to keep this culture and this brand that you're saying you're feeling, which we love, because it's here and it's evolving and changing. But I think she understands that that's keeping that authentic is going to draw people with the same values and create that. And I think that's Pitchfest just is this day of like interacting with like totally badass women and finding ways to support them, but also getting like the whole full circle, because we're getting so much back from all the amazing stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
It's just this full circle moment, and I feel like it helps all of us do a better job getting just through like the harder days or whatever, because we're like, we're working at this company that values this and values women in this space, and that's something that I think most of the people in this building care about a lot.
It really does start from Missy too. I mean, being a privately held company, again, speaking to that opportunity to have ownership and try things, like we really encourage people here to take risks. It's part of our mission, but it's also internally drilled into us. One of our goals annually pretty much is to have this culture of experimentation, to be comfortable trying things and be comfortable failing. We have a fast fail competition every year where like we are literally like, there's a
cash prize
if you did the best job failing. There's structure around it. It's not just like, oops, I forgot my coffee this morning. Oh, failure. Or like my tooth broke right before a podcast. Hey! But like, if you went intentionally into an experiment, or not even intentionally, but you expected a certain outcome and something didn't go the way you expected it, you need to go up there and talk about it, but you need to present it in a way of like, this was my intention or my expectation. This is what happened, and here's what I learned.
Yeah.
Right? And the goal of that is that we'll all learn from each other. But there have been some fast fails during those days that are super cringe. Like, oh my gosh, that
millions of
must have been so painful. either in the price or you just missed a line in an email.
Yeah.
And completely made it so we couldn't launch a product, what feels like a really big deal that maybe at other companies you're thinking you're going to get let go.
Yeah.
No, we actually genuinely encourage that. And I think that gives us all the confidence too to take risks and to experiment and to be confident going out there and saying, well, it's a little different, but I'm going to try it. And Missy will be right there with you saying, let's try it.
I love that. And just also kind of really relearning, right, that you don't have to be afraid to admit failure too, because I think a lot of times people fail, but we don't talk about it and they don't want to admit it, or especially if it is in a work situation, like, how do I fix this, cover this up, like how do I like make sure like no one found out, or
Totally.
you're just like, it reminds me of being a kid, you broke something, you're like, oh no, like hide this glass pieces and put it up like literally under the couch. Don't tell mom and dad. And then times my brother hit a baseball through like a window, I was like, well, you're not hiding that one for long, but like really trying to as long as you can. And so, I think like literally those things do stem from things in childhood of like breaking things or whatnot. And then also as you get older, it becomes like there's bigger repercussions. You're not just grounded, right? You're getting fired, maybe losing that job, which, can make your whole life fall apart. So being able to like have the freedom or ability to talk about these things is huge. And so a lot of companies don't offer that space.
Yeah.
And so speaking of Missy and being the founder of Title IX and still around, which I think is something that probably really helps hold the true ethos and values of Title IX, because a lot of times the original founder eventually moves on for whatever reason. That's it being bought out or selling or, just moving on for whatever reasons. And it feels like a lot of times when that happens is when you start to see the trickle down effect of things changing, whether that's just like, just different mindset of leadership coming in. And so let's talk a little bit about Missy and starting Title IX and where that even like came from for her and how it's still holding true today, as we've already touched on that. Where did it all start?
Do you want to tell her founding story or do you want me to?
Yes. Missy in 1989, wanted to find awesome product for women that was hopefully made by women, but real product. Like, there was the federal funding in 1972 that that helped women have access to these teams and support around, sports and being active. And, but then I think Missy was like looking and feeling like, well, there's all these guys just shrinking and pinking it. Like, let's find product that's really made for women. So that's, and so she couldn't find it. And so she started Title IX. And, it really has, at the beginning, it was a curation of other people who were doing it. Moving Comfort was one of the first brands who was making a lot of women's, active product by and for women. And then we got into making some of our own product, and now it's half of our business. But I think she just wanted to deliver on awesome product that helps women stay outside longer. And I think that's still our mission. That's what we're still doing,
because it's still an issue. So that's why things can still exist, right? Because crazy to think that in 1989, when you said she was out on the search for product for women that would hopefully made by women. It's like, what was that?
I mean,
like nothing. And it's still, there's still so many things that are emerging that haven't been around very long. Like Wild Ride mountain bikes used to get closed, right? Like that was what they just celebrated their ninth year,
which is amazing.
Yeah. But like to think it's 2025, but it's still 9 years. That's not long. And even just for me with wrestling, this company Rudy's just released a women's shoe that they say there's been like women's shoes, but this one was like designed with an Olympic gold medalist. Which also makes me think, well, Sarah Hildebrandt has been an amazing wrestler forever, had to go win the Olympics.
Right.
And she's like in her 30s. She's been wrestling since middle school. It took that long for someone to take this athlete who's done so much in the sport as so many other women. There was already another U.S. Olympic gold winner, but like she didn't get a shoe.
Right. And finally,
10 years ago.
women's
So it's
basketball
like,
players are
and yeah.
finally getting shoes and designing their own,
Exactly.
and all the women are wearing them.
I know.
And the men are wearing them,
know,
right?
the men are
We watch the
wearing them.
NBA games, and they're wearing the Asia
guys
Wilsons.
are
And I'm
more
like,
excited.
hell
I know,
yes!
it's so
Because also, they're fine shoes, okay? Like, we design good shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so crazy to think that, 89 and whatever math, 38, 36 years
Yeah,
later, that it's still, things are just coming about. Right.
Yeah,
That
right.
were actually created by women, because that does fucking matter, which our audience, being mostly women, knows that. But there's some guys out there, some of my fellow wrestling coaches listen to the podcast, so they get to hear from me a lot in these things. But it absolutely matters if it is designed and made by a woman, because you understand the needs.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
And the problems. And
Yeah,
exactly.
And I was saying like mile 10. It's like not just like putting it on in the fit.
Right.
It's like, how is it going to perform 10 miles in to
Yeah.
whatever the adventure is? And Title IX prides themselves on doing that. And honestly, that's what the Pitchfest founders, that's what we're encouraging more of that, because these women are solving, we were kind of thinking, you'd asked what our favorites were. And I was like, it's like all the innovation that is out there. It's just like so cool to be like, I have this problem and it bothers me and I'm going to find a solution to it. And I'm like, not going to stop, and so anyway, so that's what we want to do, is just keep finding great product for
keep that incubator going.
answering these issues for women.
Because there's a
For
million
sports.
problems. So if you have a problem,
Yeah.
odds are it's not just your problem. There is someone else out there who has the same or similar problem. And obviously it's like, hard to go out there and create one product for the one very specific problem. And I think that's what leads into like where.
Kula Clot's a good example of one.
Oh, I sent some with Jane to camp.
Yes, thank you. I know, yeah. I mean, that was a need in the industry for women that men would never have understood that need or understood what to design. And I at least don't really know of other brands that are trying to do what Anastasia's doing.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
That's a real need.
We used the bandanas
Yeah.
before that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, leaves.
Yes.
Nature's toilet paper.
Absolutely.
Hopefully not poison.
Yeah. Do not.
But Kula Clot feels like a safer, healthier option. And to that point, how many women have potentially ended up in a doctor's office because they didn't have a Kula Clot?
Plant.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and solving the issues for these problems, it's like hard to make a product, right, to solve every single issue or problem, right, or to create a successful business out of that. But again, you guys are here with Pitchfest and like kind of helping support those small brands who are finding those, like, I guess what you would say or think is a niche problem, but then we find out it's not. It's not that niche. It's not that niche.
Bring it to market.
Bigger need.
No, it's almost scary sometimes when you peel back the curtain of how many products are male owned and made. And I'm going to jump ahead in my notes here, but last year Molly introduced me to this company, Sequel. They design tampons.
I'm glad you jumped.
So
you told me about them on one of our calls, and I actually just
they're awesome.
last week or whatnot was looking them up again, or something I think came up on.
We have them in the bathrooms.
Yeah. And I was like, I couldn't wait to talk about this and learn more about them too, because I've been on like period underwear and cups and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, let's actually talk about. Right, that because that doesn't work for everybody or every situation either. You just it's always nice to have backups.
Absolutely.
Bretta
and Amanda, but they came to Pitchfest last year and spoke
and engineers from Stanford and
so cool
redesigned the tampon.
I mean,
it's really awesome.
What blew my mind, and like, I guess in hindsight, it doesn't surprise me. I just never thought about the fact that tampons were designed by men.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about mile 10, okay, I'm sorry. When has a man ever, besides maybe a nosebleed, used a tampon?
Yeah.
Never.
Exactly.
So how are they out there designing something that's going to go in a woman's body? And then, I mean, from there, you just go on. So I love that, Sequel and Greta and her team, they're actually now partnering also with the WNBA, so it's possible that's what popped up on your feed.
Oh, yeah, maybe,
If you go into any of the Title IX bathrooms here, and again, jumping ahead in my notes a little bit,
No.
you will find Damascus Sequel tampons, because we're a primarily women office.
Yes.
We need what we need in the bathroom, and why would we stock a male-owned brand? Well, we can go with the women-owned alternative.
Yeah.
And they're honestly better. I love it.
Yeah.
and brilliant.
Shout out to y'all.
Built for
Yeah,
quality.
I honestly was like, I need to put this on my list because, like I said, I've been on like cups and period underwear, like, or mostly backup or overnight, but cups for sure. But still, like I said, there's still a time and place just to have something available. And reading about them and the fact that, like you said, tampons were designed by a man. It's like, how, and why? And I don't understand, because I'm sure you didn't have a lot of test subjects of giving you feedback that you actually listened to. So yeah, that is on my list to try out for sure, because I've got to know.
Right.
And I also am like, yeah, I'm going to shout these from everywhere, because like,
It just makes sense.
yeah, I want like the aisles to be clear of any other company now. Because I'm like, this is insane to me, absolutely insane, and they haven't changed, right? And like said, okay, so maybe you've stepped up your nose for a nosebleed. It's like, that's definitely been known in wrestling for sure, but that's also like not every hour of the day for multiple days, right? Situation. So, yeah, exactly.
So I think the reason I was going to bring up the sequel tampons later was, again, another just bit of evidence of the fact that like Title IX, our mission to support women owning, risking, leading, is not something that we just like plaster on a poster. And we don't write a check once a year. It's every single day we're consciously choosing this mission, and we're choosing to do everything from the internal things like sequel tampons in the bathroom, or you go to our warehouse and we have a custom foosball table that's all female soccer players. And yes, of course, there's diversity there too. They've got different little hairstyles and everything. The coffee we stock is from Swelter Coffee Roasters. Shout out local business, women owned. Like every single decision that's made, whether it's something that's publicly facing or internal, is keeping in mind our mission. And I think
supporting women and putting the dollars where.
Exactly. And I'm going a little on the questions, but that's 100% through and through. And for me as the community manager, that is literally in every single detail of everything I'm doing. Whether it's Pitchfest being 100% women-led, women-owned, all the vendors are women, whether that's our T9 fund supporting nonprofits, all women-led nonprofits that serve women and girls, whether that's our partnership with the Seattle Storm being a primarily women-owned sporting team. Like, these decisions are not done unconsciously. A lot of people have asked me, why the Seattle Storm? Why not the Golden State Valkyries? Hello, yes, love the Valks, or Bay Area.
Love them.
But they're not women-owned. The Seattle Storm are primarily women-owned. And that is why we chose to start this partnership with them. So it's in every single detail, and I'm not just saying that because it's a podcast. It's truly, truly the case.
And you've taken it to like the next level. Like that was the goal the first year with Pitchfest, was to have like all women restaurants and everything. But Lisa's, you think about every single detail, and it's
awesome. Night and day different working with women as well. I mean, there are some times where I work with men. Okay, yes, we love some men. Okay. I'm sorry, but the lack of communication that I get from some of these vendors when I'm like, hey, I need something here by this day, and it arrives 3 days later instead, that just doesn't happen when I'm working with women, right? We're on the same wavelength, we're multitasking, we're efficient. It's just overall, for me, a better experience, and it ends up better for the event or for the influencer collab or whatever it is I'm working on in community.
I love it so much, and I truly believe that we should be running the world because of these things. We always try to make it clear, like, we're not a man-hating woman club here, obviously. Like, I grew up wrestling in the 90s. That was with all boys, and like I still coach the boys wrestling team at the Truckee High School.
That's awesome.
I support these kids in this sport no matter what. I snowmobile, and most of that is with a group of dudes. I love my dudes, but I also just, love being in a group of women so much more when it's I'd prefer to go on snowmobile with a bunch of just women. And also like working with women. As I've kind of ventured off and done more freelancing and more with the podcast and whatnot, it sometimes makes it harder to have male clients on the freelance side or anything, because I'm like, oh yeah, it's just like so different to really feel also that you can let the conversation go and let a veil down and know that you can relate on such a different personal level sometimes too with each other, that it just feels like you can create these sometimes deeper connections outside of work and whatnot as well. I've like I said, love the men, but working with women is so fun and awesome, and I'm just like, Yep.
Just
Right
wait
in
till
the
next
swing.
month.
Yeah,
Just wait till
totally.
Pitch
I
Fest.
know,
You're gonna find some snowmobile girlfriends.
Yeah,
You're gonna
totally.
Probably, right?
honestly, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
You will find all of your new best friends.
I
at Pitch Fest.
can't wait for it. And like I said, it's just so lovely to hear, like I said, that Title IX, just from the beginning, has stuck so strongly to those core values of like, no, seeking out the women-owned, created, operated businesses, and everyone here like believes that, sees the through line, and is here for it.
Yeah. And sometimes it's the harder choice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier to go with the higher margins or the whatever, or the people will take everything back if it doesn't sell. And
Right.
so it's a conscious choice, and it just feels right. And, I think everyone's committed to that here.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And well, it seems
Excited
like
for that.
that's because Title IX has been able to build itself to be what it is, where, like we talked about, it's a privilege to work in a place where it does align with your values. And Missy's been able to get Title IX and all of you guys here to that place where you can make those harder choices. Sometimes you can sacrifice a margin here to help here. And especially this day and age, right, there's probably a lot of people and companies out there who are in a place where they can't make that choice that aligns more with their values over the cost. And that's, obviously a whole other topic, but it kind of segues into Pitchfest and the fact that this is going to be probably a very important year for a lot of people at Pitchfest, like because it is such a big deal. If for those who win Pitchfest, it can change their whole trajectory, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So for those people out there listening who don't know what Pitchfest is, we talked a little bit about it before on the podcast, but can you guys give us a rundown of, well, everything, like how Pitchfest started?
Yeah.
And I did talk to Kelly of NoSo about Pitchfest, but when we re-recorded, we didn't actually end up talking about it in that one. So that part of our
We can
first
talk
recording
all about it.
didn't go out live. So yeah, give us the rundown on Pitchfest, where it started, what's going on, and all that.
Well, you gotta kick it off.
You
kicked it off.
Talk about how it
For real.
started,
Yeah.
and then maybe you can talk
Yeah,
about
how it's
how
going.
amazing and big and awesome it's gotten. Pitch Fest. We were at dinner in it was like a January OR. It was like OGOR days, and we had decided. Someone on the merch team was like, a lot of our women-owned businesses are gonna, like, a lot of our female founders are gonna be there. Let's do a dinner, and we don't do a lot. Title IX doesn't do a lot of like schmoozing, so that was sort of unusual. But we're like, yeah, let's do it. And Kelly was talking with somebody else. I can't remember who it was, but about it might have been Cassie at Well, right? But they were talking about the REI Pitch Fest, and Missy looked at me and was like, we should do a women one. And I was, and because I, as a merchant, had always worked really closely with the women-owned businesses, sometimes even before we worked with them, but I just loved it. It made my job feel just cooler. Like, I just love spending time with them. Like, this one, they're such fucking badasses.
Yeah.
I want to hear your story. I want to let's figure out how to get this in here, even if we're getting a 2% discount or whatever, So that was always those were the brands I was drawn to, especially initially. And then I was working with a lot of the women-owned brands, and so Missy was like, "Well, I think you should do that." And I was like, "That was end of Jan," and I kind of circled back early April. I was like, "So were you serious about that?"
So about that.
And she was like,
Very
"Yep."
Missy, yeah.
And it was awesome. To her credit, president at the time, Johnny, the two of them were awesome and really supportive. Found some money. Kelly was, one of the first judges, and definitely had
Yeah.
some great advice about Pitch Fest because she's been to Pitch Fest. And we
Yeah.
just pulled it together,
Yeah.
and it was. I mean, honestly, and to circle back to something you said earlier about mistakes and risking, and the one of the biggest gifts. I mean, Missy and Johnny, they said, the president at the time, basically said yes to everything I wanted. I was like, I think we should do this. I think we should do this. I think we should do this. But the best advice Missy said was something is going to go wrong, so just don't worry about it. And
Yeah.
just keep going. And
Love
for kind of a perfectionist who like just lets that get in my way all the time. It was such a gift because I was like, okay, then it's not gonna be perfect. So I can just like, she just told me that. So, and we just
do
did
it.
it. And it was awesome. I drew on like awesome women like Kelly and Jennifer from Handful, and we brought everyone together and Sally from Oiselle. And so those are those sort of the women founders we had already been working with. And, you know, we pulled together, came up with like a format. And they acted as mentors and judges, and we like, it was a very like scrappy, very Title IX.
There was a backdrop.
Super scrappy. The one thing I wanted to do was invite more people in, like build more of a community. And that was the one thing that we said, no, Missy was like, let's just start it small and get it right. Or not even get it right, but like just
Work out the kinks.
Yeah. And that was probably really good advice. I will say, and then we'll segue to you, because we thought I remember like the big differentiator was like all women and no cash prizes. Like Title IX we don't have outside funding.
Okay.
We're not just like doling out 5-figure checks. Like that's not our deal. Like, or that's like just not part of our deal. But we have an awesome, audience of women. Like our fans are amazing and our customers are awesome, and they are looking for new cool stuff. And so that marketing exposure and that purchase order we thought was going to make a big difference, and I believe that's true. And the community now, like as we look at it, it's a little bit less about that and it's more about so anyway, I was saying the first year we thought it was
What year was it?
2018.
Yeah, it was 2018.
Okay.
It was 2018. So it was like September 2018. So we sort of like Missy came up with the idea in like January of 2018. We sort of had this dinner, just came up in conversation, and we sort of like put it off for a couple months, and then basically in April we're like, let's do this. Shook out some cash to figure that out, and then like just super scrappy and made it happen. And it was really, really awesome. And I will say the only thing that I wish was like more people could become and be included. And I think that's where, I ran it for a couple years. Lisa was my amazing intern. And then became like such a priority. We're like, oh yeah, this is it. Like, this is why we come to work every day. It's to be able to do stuff like this. And so it was really cool that Missy basically broke it off to be its own job, and that is now Lisa's job, and she has taken it to like levels that I don't think anyone could have ever imagined.
Because I stopped asking Missy's permission.
That's
really the only thing that's changed.
That's what we do.
There's still room for failure. Things always go wrong. I just don't give her permission anymore.
That goes to the ask for forgiveness.
And that's the quote in the other room. No, the other card. Ask forgiveness, not permission. So anytime she's like, LG, I'm like, hey, right here on the wall, Missy. It's right here on the wall.
You don't have to say it. It's written down.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's also, just to go back a little bit to the founding story also with Missy and with our mission and with Pitchfest, these little drive-by ideas that turn into absolute gold, that'll come up again in this conversation. It's a theme with Missy, but I think it's really important to know is like before there was formality around Pitchfest and the T9 Fund, our nonprofit program, Missy was always doing this kind of stuff. So even when it was just her and her good friends running this program, she was giving money to the undercurrents and teaching, girls of color how to swim. She was working with the team at what's called Dirt World, building up the mountain biking course in Richmond for kids to learn how to mountain bike. She was, even if there wasn't a lot of money there, and to your point of not necessarily writing checks, we're not going to be the people to just throw money at a problem. We want to put our hands and our brains and our hearts there. We want to be there physically helping these nonprofits who are working with these women. When they come to Pitchfest, we are absolutely accessible to them. If they want to have a one-on-one with the head of marketing at Title IX, they can do that. If they want to have a one-on-one with our creative director, they can do that. And that is more valuable, from what I've heard from them, than $1,000, because that's not going to get them the knowledge or the access that they need to grow. And so to realize that this purchase order, this access to this community is actually really what they want. Absolutely, there's space for there to be Pitchfest with a large cash prize, and I hope they all win them. My Pitchfest groupies, they should win all of the money in the world. But to be able to come to us and say, I can't figure out what kind of printer I need to put this UPC code on this packaging, we'll help them with that, and those day-to-day questions that make it feel really hard as a founder. If they want to talk, what we've been doing recently, unfortunately, and I'll say this word one time, is having tariff conversations on our Zoom calls. Our head of product development and Missy herself have come on 5 different calls with our female founders to talk about what we're doing, to talk about what they can do to help them figure out what kind of conversations can you have at the factories? What questions can I ask? How do I even reach them?
Yeah.
When do I make the decision to pull from one factory or go to another? And we'll be really honest, and just this last week, Katie was sharing a mistake. Not a mistake. We tried something. It didn't work. And she was very candid about that with these founders to say, hey, look, just because we're bigger and we've been around longer doesn't mean that we know everything either.
Yeah.
But just to open up that community of sharing, of ideating together and being teammates for each other is like, I think probably beyond what Missy originally could have even imagined for Pitchfest and for our movers and makers. But to me, it's one of the many things that really make Title IX so special. And again, go back to our mission being something that's ingrained every day. But that's not how Pitchfest has grown.
I know.
But it's also grown a lot, which is the question I was supposed to be answering. So I came in, Molly was running an awesome Pitchfest. And honestly, one of your questions, Taryn, that might be jumping ahead again is like just how Pitchfest has changed over the years and how it's grown. And again, alluding to that culture of experimentation, it's changed every single year. Sometimes by force, COVID, wildfires, unfortunately, things that have made us adjust our agenda. But what's always stayed true is that it's always about what's best for the finalists. And I've learned through them, and some of the things that I'll talk about have really grown because of ideas from the finalists. So at the beginning, Pitchfest was a one-day event. It was clear that people wanted more time. They wanted time to talk to Title IXers. They wanted time to talk to each other, to do collaborate, brainstorm, have these meetings, have the one-on-one sessions with the merch team, with product development, whoever, and still have time to pitch and hopefully get their products carried to Title IX. So it's now a 2-day event. Even before those 2 days, though, they're already connected with a mentor months beforehand.
Really?
These mentors used to be these incredible women that we worked with before Pitchfest, but now that we've had so many great years of Pitchfest, there's actually a plethora of mentors to pick from, which is amazing for me. And they're all women who have come through this event in some way. So they can help them, whether it's honing their pitch or just telling them hey, Title IX's not all that scary. You're going to mostly be talking to Lisa, and she's really not that scary, right? But just to settle some of the jitters, give them the confidence and meet them wherever they are at.
And just answer, be a resource.
And be a resource. I've stood on that stage. Here's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I actually sent them a video. I just sent it yesterday of the space where they'll be pitching so they can envision themselves here, picture themselves crushing it. But that is something that when you're a finalist asks for. I didn't just think about it, right? Somebody had said to me when you were here, it would help me to see myself there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Love that. We can make that happen.
Especially because you might be imagining, that big conference room.
Scary, dark inside.
And it's just people staring at you all buttoned up.
Yeah. And in reality,
perfect. And
it's that, right. It's actually a bright green basketball / pickleball court. And then COVID, obviously rough times. We did a virtual Pitchfest, but doing that actually gave us some opportunities to expand the event beyond just the 2 days. So we do 2 pre-Pitchfest workshops over Zoom, maybe Google Meets, I don't know, whatever. And we do one where we're practicing our pitches all together with public speaking coaches. And then we do one on finance. You and I talked a little bit about the importance of women being able to speak to their finances, whether that's explaining your profit and loss statement, speaking to your margins, or just being able to balance a checkbook, right?
Yeah.
It is so important that women have the tools, the confidence, the knowledge to be able to speak to the money. And our judging panel, of which Molly is a part of now, are going to ask questions that are really important for us to know as a business.
Yeah.
But also, we do want to challenge you. So as much as I hope y'all are getting that Pitchfest is an accepting place where there's literally, it's not a competition among the finalists. We never say how many winners there could be. There are 9 brands that are pitching. We don't clarify how many winners on purpose because it's not them against each other. Yeah. They're actually a team. We want them to support each other. All 9 of them can win if they're at the place where they're ready. And if we're at the place where we're ready for that.
Yeah.
But we still want to challenge them to think deeper, right? Missy always wants, and we always want them to learn and grow at Pitchfest. So you might get a question from a judge that stumps you. That's all good. But go find out the answer later on and make sure you understand that portion of your business. Because to be a founder, you're going to be wearing hats that you maybe aren't expecting to wear. Maybe they don't fit too comfortably. But you don't want to wear it here. Right. But you got to learn how to balance it on your head long enough to stay afloat until you can maybe hire someone.
Right.
But again, you can call the Title IX finance team and sit down. So our head of finance runs this workshop. And like, I mean, all the top folks at Title IX want to be involved. So that now happens before Pitchfest. So before they even got here, they're going to have 2 days of workshops. We do multiple pre-Zoom calls just together as a cohort to build the confidence. They have calls with their mentors. By the time they get here, yeah, sure, they're nervous about their pitch still.
Right.
They're in front of a microphone. Most people, myself excluded, don't love being in
it's
front of a
like,
microphone.
test day, right? Like you've studied,
Exactly.
you've done everything, but
You're
still
prepped.
once you get there and
Yes.
you have to lay it out, like this is, it's the big stage where you're like, okay, this is where I have to like put all this work out there.
Right.
So I can see how that would be nerve-wracking for
Totally.
sure. Like, oh
Yeah.
no, it's finally the day, and
Right.
like, am I ready or whatever?
Yes.
Is this going to go how I envisioned or whatnot?
Exactly. But joke's on them. We make them do a ropes course the day before so that all of their fear and nerves are lost up there in the Berkeley
All
Hills,
their
in the
adrenaline.
trees.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I've never done a pitch fest of any kind. Obviously, I don't have like a product-based business or anything. But I can tell you that what I would imagine of one is coming up with all this shit and like watching Shark Tank over and over and over.
Yeah, yes,
and
that's
like
right.
trying to get all these ideas of numbers and this and that and being ready to go spew it out there. And then that's how it works. The fact that you set them up with these like Pitch Fest workshops, mentors, open your entire like staff, it seems to them for questions is like just something I would never ever imagine at all that those resources are given to them ahead of time, because like I said, it feels like normally what a pitch fest would be is like, yeah, the opportunity is that you come and give us your pitch.
Right. Sink or swim.
And if you win, like we write the order or whatever. But that's, yeah, I just can't get over that. You give them all these resources, and I'm like, any brand, we've had a lot of founders of people who've been through Pitch Fest. So it's really cool to get to talk to you guys about it. But I'm like, anyone who's been on the pod or anyone I know who has a business who hasn't applied for Pitch Fest, I'm like, oh my God, you absolutely need to, because it seems like such a learning experience where whether you win or not, there's so much value out of it because they've been able to talk to that marketer or the financial director or whatnot and learn so much. They may not be that finalist or the winner or whatnot, but and also amazing that because that was one of my questions, like, oh, how many winners are there? Because I saw that this year was like this person, and it's like, well, we don't
set
know
it, and a lot
We
of
don't know.
times they come back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Well, like Dovetail, we're working with
Yeah.
them now.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
didn't win the first year, and it was more of like a us thing. We weren't doing a lot of cotton at the time. They only had a few products. They were awesome.
Yeah.
We were like, this story is so badass. Like the way, like just the innovation, really, like I was thinking about it, it's like this innovation, this new way of thinking about product for women. And they've just created such an awesome brand. 5 years later, we just sold their pan. It sold out in like 2 weeks. And we had carried a couple things last year, but like we're building up, and so sometimes it just is like the right time and place for us. But Pitchfest really, I mean, it benefits Title IX. And again, like we feel great about doing this and we want to lift women up. But at the end of the day, we want better product for women. And so by supporting these brands, we're building this pipeline of awesome female vendors. And so that, like, it's this symbiotic relationship, and that's what I think
The
is.
network.
Yeah.
Like it's just meeting them or them meeting each other and creating that community where they can later go talk with one another down the line, because you feel isolated at times, and especially I'm sure in business and product as things go on, like you come up against questions like, I have no idea what to do with this problem, but maybe this person over here has dealt with this.
Totally.
So just being able to build that community and network is so valuable for people who participate in this. It seems that it's like I said, it's not just like showing up into a cold room pitching and then like you're done and you're not connected with anybody. And
it's
so I got a
opposite of
check,
that.
but then it's also like, what do I do with this check?
Right.
Where do I put the money? And it seems, again, not being a founder of a business like this myself, I can't say for sure, and I'm sure it depends on, obviously, everyone in different situations, but from what I know on the retail side, it feels like an order being placed can be so much more valuable than that like hard dollar of $5,000.
Yeah.
But then you're on your own and you have to decide, what do I do with this money?
right.
Because this order, I mean, is getting the things out there and getting to such a larger audience that, you know, it's so hard for small brands to get into retail, especially big retail. So it feels like that is invaluable, really, that you can't put a cost on what one order from Title IX would do. It could be worth this much, it could be worth this much because of all of the ways it fans out.
Yeah, it's you know, beyond obviously just the purchase order, but I think even more it's the marketing support too.
Yeah.
And they're going to see their product potentially in retail, maybe online only. We have options there. Sometimes it's in the catalog. It's always on the website. There's a social media takeover opportunity. There are, you know, so many ways we can tell the stories together that I think have ended up being, for me at least, on more of the marketing side of things, the really fun part. And to Molly's point about them teaching us a lot too, these are young, fresh brands that are excited and that might be able to push our team to think about our reels differently, or the way we're shooting our product on our photo shoots. I think there's so much beyond just that singular purchase order.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, Molly mentioned Dovetail, but there are multiple hands worth of brands that have come through Pitchfest and not won right away, and maybe left a little bummed. Fair enough, everyone wants to win.
Yeah.
But we never are just dropping them, right? It's always, hey, you know what? Actually, we want to work with you on the swim prints, and now we carry Hakuna wear. Hey, actually, we want to work on the sizing a little bit of this. Or to your point, maybe we're just not quite ready to market a pea pant, but hey, Nora, now we are.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's some folks where it's just in like, whether it's you or us, it might not be the time, but we're going to stay in touch and we're going to connect you with the folks, or let you help us think outside the box of ways we can market this better.
Yeah.
Because we are the end all be all know alls.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we want with this Pitch Fest as well, is this isn't a special secret sauce that we're trying to keep hidden. Otherwise we wouldn't be on a podcast talking about it.
Yeah.
I've actually had conversations with brands like King Arthur Baking about how they can have a Pitch Fest for female bakers.
Yeah.
I am not a baker. I was a waitress, but I've never, you know, like I've never worked in a bakery before.
Yeah.
But they saw and heard about our Pitch Fest and reached out to me and said, how can we bring this here? Conversations about how they can do something similar abroad.
Yeah.
How can
Yeah.
Pitch Fest support female founders in England or in Europe or other countries? How can we do a Pitch Fest? We've done a Pitch Fest nonprofit edition, and we did a Pitch Fest girls edition, where we had girl entrepreneurs between the ages 8 and 18 come and pitch their products. Their prize wasn't a purchase order. Their prize was a pop-up shop that we held at our retail store.
That's amazing.
That like was so rad.
That's
the
like
way
a
that
dream,
came
you know,
together.
for a girl of that age, like just doing that. And it can just, again, stem into like the trajectory of their life.
Yeah.
They got that opportunity that inspired them, like,
Right.
wow, I could do this. Like, it allows them to see
Yeah.
a bigger goal or vision.
One of-
And I mean, I think I've mentioned it slightly, maybe about a grant or something, but it's like, yeah, I want like to do a media pitch fest. Like, how do like,
Yeah.
I'm not in.
Let's talk about that later. I have ideas.
Like,
It can be so many things.
so many different
Yeah.
businesses out there, you know, and it always feels like for me not being product based, it's like, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. How do I get out there? Even if it's like with my freelance marketing side or with personal training, like I've always offered services,
Right.
and not a tangible item. So it's always felt like, how the fuck? Like, yeah, do I
Yep.
get any kind of business support or anything? So there's just, just so many things that can come out of these ideas. And what I'm wondering, so obviously our audience is a lot of women in outdoors, athletics, and things like that. I'm sure there are tons out there listening that maybe do want to start a business or have a little business, make a little something on the side. But I think the majority are folks that are consumers. So how might people from the consumer side, like how can they support Pitch Fest or brands that are, you know, that they think should get into Pitch Fest, or what kind of role can we as consumers play for Pitch Fest and Title IX?
I mean, you know, put your money where your mouth is kind of thing. And we have a really easy drop down that has women-owned right on our website, women-owned businesses and our Pitch Fest winners. So go to our site and support them. Go to their sites. See, they have, we only carry a few pieces usually. And so, I mean, anything you can do to spread the word. Like I gift things a lot. I gift that runner trucker from Oiselle. I just keep like 10 of them in my house, and I'm just like, I got to give this to everybody.
I
'Cause
love
this
that.
thing has
That's the
changed my life.
Yes.
And Alpine Fit just came out with a new Alpha fleece, and I just I let Alice borrow it for her mountain bike trip.
You're
And
so nice. You love that piece.
I know you do. I'm obsessed.
Wow.
So I just try to spread the word, like buy it, and buy the product, share with your friends, and like again, if you need a list, go to our website and take get started. But there's so much awesome product out there.
So much. I'm just remembering all the things I didn't say. So circling back to the shopping piece, the one additional way that Pitchfest has grown a lot, and again, this came from Alpine Fit, one of our previous winners. They organized one year after Pitchfest a Saturday marketplace. They found a place in Berkeley, put on a little pop-up. That is now officially part of Pitchfest. So last year we had our first at the end of the day of Pitchfest. Pitches had happened, the winners had been announced. We had our workout, we ate our lunch, all that good stuff. We turned our stage area into a marketplace where all of the finalists and other movers and makers, women-owned brands could just set up stuff
So
to
much
sell.
fun.
We had people leaving in tears, and I promise you they were happy tears because it ended up being the biggest selling day of their careers up to that point. So this year, what I'm really excited about is we're still having that marketplace. We're being a little bit more intentional about building it out, and we're inviting our top shoppers. So that's a couple different ways folks can engage with Pitchfest this year is you can actually check out our marketplace. You'll be getting an email about it. You can RSVP to attend and to buy the products directly from these founders. You can also, of course, support online.
Yeah.
We also just added this new feature to our website that we're in testing phases of right now, but it's our tip jar. I'm not even sure you know about this.
What a wonderful get all the good info from
Yes. So the tip jar feature on our site was originally an idea that came about as a result of tariffs. But we actually realized that, for us, to maybe sometimes our own disservice, we aren't thinking about the bottom line all the time, right? As you've heard on this podcast, it's not all about making
The
money.
merchants are.
The marketers
Like
thinking about
a CFO or something because I'm like
the storytelling.
paid like
Right. But the storytelling, the supporting the women, that's what Missy truly cares about. At the end of the day, we need to be able to stay in business, of course, but it's these women, these contacts there. So this tip jar feature that we've added gives shoppers an opportunity to contribute directly to Pitchfest. So tips are $3 at checkout. If you are choosing to give a tip, it is not going to Title IX's pockets. It is going directly into funding Pitchfest Outdoor Edition 2025. So this year, however much money comes through that tip jar, it's the first time for us. We've never done this before. It might be $3, it might be $3,000. That is going to go to pay for the vendors. That's going to go to support the travel of our attendees to the event. That's
Hotel
going to pay
rooms,
for speakers and workshop leaders and, whatever, chair rentals, whatever it needs to be to get all these women to the event. So there are more tangible ways now that you can support Pitchfest, but really it's just continuing to follow along. Follow us on social media. Follow at Title IX on Instagram and follow along that day because we'll be posting content. You'll have the opportunity to shop all these incredible women-owned brands. Molly mentioned the Oiselle hats and, having boxes of goodies. My box of goodies is the Tough Cutie socks, the hiking socks. We love Tough Cutie.
Yes.
I mentioned I wasn't a big hiking fan growing up, and a small part of that was because of the toe seam of my socks. Okay, I was maybe a little bit of a princess, but a tough one. And her socks, this innovation that you spoke to earlier, she came up with this whole new way
Brittany
to create,
Coleman, right?
this whole new way to create a hiking sock that eliminates that toe seam. For some people, it might be a chafing thing. For me, it's just a comfort thing. Right? And so if I had a box of goodies in my trunk, I would keep all the Tough Cutie socks for myself, to be completely honest. But that's probably the gift I would put in there. Beyond that, though, beyond just the tangible ways to support Pitchfest, I think what's becoming more and more clear as culture and everything changes in the country and beyond is this intention behind your dollars. It's this understanding that where you shop and the money you spend is impactful and important. Things like Women-Led Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, is a huge testament to that. Of if you care about the companies you're supporting, shop at Title IX. Because the mission is there. It's truly driving our company, whether you're supporting buying Title IX branded stuff itself or buying a Nutshell cooler or buying a Loom 6 sports bra or buying those NARA pants that when you go hiking, you can unzip and then use your cooler cloth,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You can get it all at Title IX, and you can get it from them too. And that's what we want. And we're not trying to harbor the special sauce. Go check out those women-owned businesses. If you have ones you think should be a part of Pitchfest, the application is open every summer in the month of June, so they can check it out at title9.com, of course, for the application. We are finding more and more women that are out there doing this. The biggest challenge right now is that the applicants just keep getting better.
Yeah. So that was one of my questions in how people apply.
Yep.
Seems pretty easy.
Yep.
You go online.
It'll be open
But
today.
then, how many? Do you have a cap on how many you take each
We
year?
take 9 brands.
Okay,
So it's
okay.
always Title IX, 9 finalists.
There we
Yes.
go.
This year we
Okay.
have 11 women representing the 9 brands. We have 2 sets of co-founders, which is fantastic. It's always tricky. It's tricky narrowing it down. The first couple of years, we weren't great at explaining what we wanted. So we
Right.
got applicants who had products for boys.
trucks and-
Food trucks.
Yeah.
A yacht
Yeah.
distributor who never sent me my sample.
A yacht?
Yachts. Yes, and yes, I asked for a sample of a yacht, and they did not send me. I'm still waiting. One of these days, it's gonna pull up around Doyle Street.
Totally right here.
But the quality of the applicants keeps getting better, and that is in large part also a testament to the previous applicants and winners.
Yeah.
We talked about obviously this Pitchfest being a great avenue for women-owned businesses to get into Title IX, and ways that you can support Pitchfest and these female founders. And I think Molly mentioned putting your money where your mouth is, and I want to say that Title IX is also putting our money where our mouth is. So, I mentioned a little bit about ways that Missy, from the inception of Title IX, has been involved with women, whether that's through nonprofit support or business support. And we did a little bit of a deep dive into the numbers, even though she didn't always track her data perfectly. So it's actually probably higher than this, but over the course of Title IX's history as a business, we've contributed over $75 million to women. That's across business, sport, and nonprofit.
Wow.
So about 73 million of that is money that's been invested back into women-led businesses. Through Pitchfest, yes, but also the purchase orders that we continue to write to these women-owned businesses. That includes all of the vendors that we use for all of our internal events, retail events, any woman that's redesigned a building for us or done our architecture or done our gardening, landscaping, any woman. And again, that's all women that we work with here at Title
Love
IX.
it. Love it.
The exception of that is there is the guy here who comes and checks the mouse traps, and that's a
Okay, I was gonna say toilets or something.
yeah. That's the one. There's no mouse in them. There's no mice in them. Don't worry.
I support all women pest control and
Heck yeah.
plumbers and all
If
that.
you know one locally, if you know one in Emerville, send them our way. We'd love to use them. But about 1.5 million of that has also gone to women in sports.
Wow.
A large part of that went to pay the pay gap between the women's U.S. national soccer team and the men's. A couple years back, we had our Kick 'em for Equal Pay campaign. But a lot of that money is also for girls lacrosse teams or for girls getting access to mountain biking or, lower level orgs that are really on the ground getting girls into sports that are more typically male dominated. Skateboarding is a great example too. We work with a nonprofit that gets girls onto skateboards.
I love that. So the skateboards on the wall.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And then another 500,000, and again, that number is it's more than that. I don't have the data to track all of that. But over $500,000 has been contributed to women-led nonprofits that serve women and girls through our T9 fund. So we fund organizations that support women in sports and the outdoors, politics and justice, and reproductive rights. So all of those are programs that exist here at Title IX. Again, we don't really toot our own horn, with the exception of maybe this moment on this podcast.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
And that's what folks don't know. If
Yeah.
if you look behind the curtain of Title IX, you're just gonna find awesome greatness and all the women and men here that are doing it every single day. So though, a little bit of data, we're mostly on vibe, right? And excitement and energy, but there are numbers behind it that show, and obviously we've been able to stay in business. So again, going back to that point of, for companies that are bigger than Title IX, we want to see them doing this kind of stuff too. It doesn't have to be focusing on women. Find your niche and go towards it, and you will make money. You will find ways to make your company really stick in the industry you're in.
I feel like you're speaking to me.
I am. Quite literally.
Yes, I will.
Right? I mean, whether it's King Arthur Baking or, maybe you're REI and you're starting programs for founders of color. Amazing. For us, it's women. For you, find your thing and focus on it and spread the story about it. Just do it.
It is good business. Like I said, helping these women grow their businesses, and honestly, in a lot of places, they're sometimes helping us back. It's not they don't always need our help, but like being in there with them and seeing and supporting them grow these strong businesses with like amazing product helps Title IX grow a stronger business of truly authentic product, and that's just like so. It's just like it's awesome that supporting women.
And we genuinely love the stuff. Molly and I are both rocking
my God.
Bronwyn. I've got Bronwyn head to toe, and Kaylani.
Yeah.
I have to
Our
reach
newest.
back out
Yep.
to Brown when she was
She'll be at
on.
Pitchfest.
Okay, yes. And then I was also just,
good.
I mean, I've seen your shirt this whole hour. But
This is the jet tee.
Jet tee?
What is this?
It comes in a
Isn't
tee,
it so
tank, and a
great?
long
It's the-
sleeve, a new graphic
It's
long
our
sleeve.
super cotton, so it's
Yes.
it's cotton,
It's really nice.
blend, and so it dries a little bit faster, and just has like a nice durability story. So beyond like better than a basic cotton tee.
And I'm wearing the Headlands tank, also from Title IX. Carry it in a long sleeve, a tank, a bra crop top, and a short
Quick dry.
sleeve. It's working right now.
Yeah, it's a little toasty.
A couple more fun things, and
Yeah.
then I'll let someone else speak. But we did just start working with a women-owned factory here in the Bay, or screen printer rather, so we can do some custom screen printing, make some cool tees and stuff here in Oakland, and then we have a women-led factory in America that we've also just started to partner with. So, there are times where actually most of the factories that we work with abroad are teams that are led by women. Even if the factory itself isn't owned by a woman, the teams that we work with are, I think the data they gave me was something like 95% women that we work with. So top to bottom, that is not a protocol. The other thing we want to tell you about, and it's still kind of new, so we're super excited because this year at Pitchfest, we will be sharing a report of our first year of our Trailblazer program. This was the other Missy drive-by we alluded to. But oftentimes her drive-bys are the most successful ideas, it turns out. So we have the pleasure of working with Dana Caraway from Caraway & Co. She is a rep agency. This is women-led, women-owned rep
Women-led, yep.
agency. And we heard from Pitchfest a couple years ago, some of the conversations, many of the conversations were female founders commiserating together about how hard it is to get in new doors, how hard it is to find that new retailer, get them excited about your stuff, especially when you're one woman wearing 25 hats.
And to find female reps.
And you can't find
I
a
was a
female
rep for a year and a half for Dovetail.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I
It was
forgot
very
about that.
short-lived, but also just being in the retail side and working closely with our reps at the store I worked at in Truckee, and just getting close relationships with them. Had another kind of look into the world before I became a rep, which honestly really helped me
Totally.
as I took that on. But not a lot of experience there, but enough. I feel like
It's hard. They're
so
awesome.
wanted the first thing I thought when I became a rep for Dovetail was like, well, I have to start my own women-led agency. It has to be for all these small women-owned brands, Nara, Wild Ride, all these companies that I knew didn't have reps, at least not in my territory, which is quite a big territory. I was like, that's just where my brain goes, is diving all the way in. Like, well, if I can't just be a rep for Dovetail, I have to make an agency now, and I have to.
Well, now
back
you
down
can
to
just
that.
Exactly.
About this, I was like, oh my God, that's so cool.
We're doing it. We're doing it. Do you want to speak a little bit about it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm sure this has been going on forever, but even the first year at Pitchfest, we did a panel of speakers, and it was female reps in the industry because it's just been a problem, and people want to find, these brands, emerging brands who are trying to make these decisions about where to put money to build their brand. They want to find awesome reps who are going to, bring their product, grow their business.
Able to wear it and understand.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a woman.
Explain
Listening
the
to a
benefits.
male rep as a retail
my
associate,
gosh. Don't
explain a
even.
woman's piece. I'm like,
Especially when it's like sports bras.
Yeah.
You actually don't have.
you're not selling that in the way as good as it could be. Obviously, it's a need that store's going to put it in, but sometimes those differences just can't be explained. The problems it's solving, they're not clear on, so they can't pitch that to the
Necessarily
account.
authentic. Exactly. So anyway, Dana Caraway has built an amazing business and really cares about growing all reps, but especially female reps in the business. So we realized we had a need, and she was sort of working on building the rep business out, and we were looking for ways to find female reps to represent our Pitchfest winners. So Title IX and Caraway & Co. have combined to hire an awesome female rep. She's learning the trade over with Caraway & Co. And then Lisa did an awesome job working with Caraway to do like a process to pick Pitchfest winners who are now going to be part of this Trailblazer program. And so Caraway and Co is now repping them, but we're combining on this. I'm not explaining this.
No, you're doing it. It's first year. This is why we're learning.
That's how you just got to go. It's like, that's the thing. We're going to just go and try and we're going to learn.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You're going to make it better and better. Like just offering it is a huge step that is going to help everyone, both female reps out there who, you know, also I'm sure it can be hard out there to get the better brands or big brands or get any respect going in the doors of an account when they're like, oh, who's this girl who's selling me this or that, whatever, you know. So having someone like Caraway who's very respected in that world, I think is huge as the rep. Like, yeah, when I was an independent rep for that short time, like that's hard to get the time of day. What email address should I send this, or how am I going to get the introduction thing? So huge partnerships to help the reps, the companies, the brands that don't have the reps to have the correct representation. Like that's what they're doing, right? So it's amazing.
Shows that we did 3 or 4 shows this spring.
We're about 6
accounts.
months.
Yeah. So we're just like early stages, but it's been really
It's
awesome,
been great.
and it's been a neat way to just continue to build out the support for the women-owned brands.
What I'm excited about with
crushing
that
it.
is, you know, obviously now, like that's come from Pitchfest, that's come from conversations we've had at Pitchfest, it's directly another opportunity for the Pitchfest winners, whether they're still something that we carry or not, to have access to. So our goal is to each year kind of grow that program specifically with the sales reps. But in my mind, and I'm thinking a little bit ahead here, but we got to have big dreams. In my mind, the Trailblazer program can take many different shapes. So yes, right now it's sales reps, but maybe next year it's working with a female financial agency, right? And we're getting somebody who's going to support each of our movers and makers, whoever is selected from their application pool, to help them with all things finance. Or maybe it's PR. I think we mentioned that one earlier, right? Maybe they're working with a women-led PR firm, and Title IX is helping to support their having, 4 times a year getting access to this PR or whatever that is. Haven't given those programs shape yet. We'll kind of keep seeing how this one goes. I think, again, starting from Missy, we have this ownership over our roles that we're given. She has these amazing ideas where she literally called and was like, can you and Molly make this happen? And here we are, 6 months later, making it happen, and it's successful, and she has no idea. And we're gonna get to report back to her right before Pitchfest, and she's gonna be stoked. And so to be able to take that in any direction we see fit, and have that kind of trust from our leadership is really just super unique. And again, like, this is something that we're doing at Title IX.
Yeah.
What can you do at your company? Hey, big brands out there. I'm not going to name any of them. Not going to ruffle any feathers, but I have a list in my mind of brands that have more money than we do, or more resources than we do, and aren't doing anything.
Because they're afraid to take the risk.
And why? Like, why? Where's that going to get you? Like,
well, that's the thing. People are fine living in the safe zone.
Yeah.
And like they don't want to. It's like no risk, no loss. It's what they feel, but really you are losing by not opening the door to
yourself
gain
out there.
anymore. So
Leading, risking, and owning. That's the
there.
tagline. And honestly, like, back to these founders, that's just like the most inspiring part, is these women are just taking risks every day.
yeah,
They're just like
they're just doing it.
getting told no 100 times.
my
They
gosh.
just keep going.
that one
and
yes.
that's
for that one,
so inspiring.
And to me, like, I think you're touching a little bit on what I'm most proud of with Pitchfest. It's not the fact that all the vendors are women. That's awesome. Love that, obviously. It's not the fact that Missy's happy about it. It's not that. Every year she's stoked. It's not that. What makes me the most proud is the unexpected waterfall of connections and positivity, and when I'll get a text message from 2 female founders who have shared a booth at a trade show, or are sharing a hotel room, or doing a photo shoot together. We had teams from here fly to Alaska and do a photo shoot together.
Was it you or an Alpine Fit?
It was You're an Alpine Fit. And then we had
I'm like such a stalker.
yeah, and then collabs, right? And then collabs between Wild Giants and
I was so
They
psyched when that came
collabs
out.
that you can get
So psyched.
exclusively at Title IX. And that is like one of hundreds of examples. And there's a rule among our movers and makers. If you're listening, don't forget, they have to text me a selfie anytime. She does it too. She knows too. Anytime you're with another mover maker, and it's constant that I'm getting, hey, we're here at this event together. We're sharing a booth. We're doing a giveaway on Instagram together. Or we decided to share a sales rep because we heard about what y'all are doing and we decided to do it our own. That is enough for me. Like at the end of the day, I obviously, yes, need a paycheck, but like those connections and the way that they've come together as a cohort and as a community is without a doubt what makes me the most proud. And I'm kind of surprised you're not crying at this point. I know. Usually you're crying. I usually am crying. But really, like, I know she points the finger at me, but like none of this would have happened without Molly. And, you know, she has her full-time job that she has to do, but there's never a doubt in my mind that if I need to call, I do a lot of this on my own.
Yeah.
But I call Molly if I'm like, I can't decide if this mentor should be with this finalist, or, you know, what do you think about bringing in this lunch vendor? Do you think people will like that? Like the little things. Yeah. She's always, you know, happy to be my sounding board.
We're a good team.
Sometimes that's all you need. It's like, I have to get this out of my head.
Exactly.
And as soon as it's out of your head, you're like, never mind, I've got the answer.
What was it this year?
She's known all along.
I needed to talk to someone about the marketplace. I'm like, we want to open it up to the public. What do I do?
Yeah.
Let's just talk it through. And, you know, it's 7 p.m. on a Friday. You're driving home. And I'm like,
You know me. I'm always happy to talk to you and always happy to talk about Pitchfest. So
we love it.
Well, before we wrap up here, because
yes, we gotta go work out.
Exactly.
You know, it's
yoga time.
Yes.
I don't know if we even actually touched on that there's a daily workout.
We have a daily workout at 12
every day.
It's 12:02.
So we're gonna get to yoga, but before we do, Molly, anything that you want to add, any like proudest moment or just anything at all to
most memorable
moment,
like
leave the audience.
Favorite dessert.
Oh yeah, it's always favorite dessert. What's your favorite dessert? Key lime pie for me. No, it's just, I mean, it is just like the biggest. These women are such badasses. So to have any kind of interaction and to be able to support just in the tiniest ways and lift up their voices and lift up their stories and what they are out there leading, risking, owning, and doing and inspiring us is like such a privilege. And we just like, it just, like I said, it makes coming to work every day awesome.
Well, thank you guys so much for talking to me. We could continue this for so long, I feel like.
Easily.
And the only reason I even want to stop it is because I just want to do like yoga.
Yeah, let's go.
Like, this is so cool. We'll get some clips from that. But I really appreciate you guys talking to me, sharing everything about it, and really making me feel and know that, like I said, behind the curtain, like Title IX is doing what they say they're doing. The mission is real. It's ingrained in the everyday. Because like I said, with big companies like this, like, people can kind of doubt, right? Or they just don't know. And it's like, even if you're buying from Title IX instead of that brand directly, it's full circle. It's like in the relationship, it comes around. So it doesn't have to be this like, who do I support? Do I go straight to them? Do I go here? Do I go there? Like, as long as you're buying from a woman-owned like company and brand that is going into the ecosystem, because that's what Title IX is an entire ecosystem, not just a brand who's trying to be like the top tier, the capital, though, like run everything. Like, you are definitely the definition of like a rising tide raises all ships.
Well, you're part of the ecosystem too, so I just want to say thanks for this podcast, for having us, and then you're also just lifting up so many great stories in the outdoor space, but especially, you know, a lot of the women-owned businesses on there, and so you've really created some.
And you keep saying
appreciate it
that you didn't start a business. I know you don't have a hard good.
I know. You're a mover.
You're a female founder, and we will talk about Pitchfest Creators/Media Edition. Let's have that conversation, because there's something there. And I want to thank you as well for just coming out here and meeting up with us, and for everything you're doing to help champion Pitchfest. And I also want to shout out all of our movers and makers, because I just want to reiterate that the event itself has taken so much shape because of them. They're mentoring, they're judging, they're coming out here and giving their all every single time. So I'm just the one refilling the coolers with the yummy women-owned wine and beer. Thank you, Graham. Shout out to Maker. But they're really the ones who are connecting and inspiring the next generation as well. So it's awesome. You're going to have a great time.
Yes, I can't wait. You guys all stay tuned, because we have more on Pitchfest coming.
1 month from today. Woo! See you there. Let's go work out.
Stay tuned.